The show.
Starting up the stream with our new pre-show thing.
Did you like that?
We have a pre-show thing?
Yeah, Gary made a thing.
That's not the thing.
Gary made a thing.
I apparently can't see said thing.
Yeah, because you'd have to go to the stream and see it.
Well, I'm at the stream, but there's nothing. All that's coming up is the regular live logo.
Well, so far nothing has started yet, as far as I can see in regards to the stream. Oh wait, there it is.
Oh, there it is. I see an on-air and pre-show logo thing.
How do you guys get to see that and I don't?
I don't know.
Refresh your browser.
Rude. No, it says live stream is offline. Bitch, why are you being offline?
Well, obviously it's online because I see that it's online and the other two are seeing it. So it's obviously your problem. It's not us, it's you.
Wow.
There it is.
Oh, that's cute.
Well, so you know what this made me think of, and Jeff, you've probably known this for a while. Pre-show, this reminds me of one of my, I don't want to say favorite, one game that I really have enjoyed playing, especially when I was younger, which is You Don't Know Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the pre-show thing, and they have the little conversation while you're waiting for the game to load and all that kind of stuff. And that's what it made me think of, because last night while I was working on something else, I had last week's YouTube video playing on my TV. Because on my Apple TV, I have a YouTube app. So, and there was, I know what it was. I was trying to work on something for the doc, and I couldn't remember if we used this person's name last week. So I was like, oh, I'll just play the show. And then, but I didn't know how much pre-show we had. And it was funny because all it is the big white Comes Out Loud logo. And I was like, oh, that needs a thing. If it at least says pre-show, like, and on air or something, at least people will know what the hell's going on.
Nice. Well, we're here.
We're here, we're queer.
Get used to it.
Phone. I gotta get pictures up and ready. Because I got feedback. Jeff, did you find the clip that I referenced?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And outside of that, I think I'm good because I think I already had a lot of stuff loaded to the dock.
Okay. Are we good?
Jeff?
Almost.
Oh, okay.
I need to finish the game I was playing.
Nice.
All right.
I'm looking at a picture of a guy who is handsome, and he posted a selfie. But in the background is his refrigerator, and he has stickers that make it look like a Game Boy.
Oh,
Sweet.
neato. Anyways. Let's do this.
Afternoon, Drew.
Hi, Drew. Hello.
I just realized something. Hold on.
Everybody talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I was playing the theme music, and I realized just realized you guys can't hear it. That's why you were talking. So I'm starting over. Hold on. Let me pop this out. I was not ready.
Why did the image change?
Because I'm starting the show now.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's try this again. 3, 2. Sunday, December 3rd, 2017. I'm Jeff.
Who's your bear? That's right. I am your bear.
I'm Damon.
I am Chester.
This room is a pigsty, and you're a dirty pig boy.
And that makes me Gary.
Don't hurt nobody with your bad self.
And welcome to Comes Out Loud, the Bear Podcast of Indeterminate Length, episode number 443. And everything's going wrong today.
Well, not
half
everything.
An hour late for practically everything. It's nobody's fault. It's just technical difficulties, but we figured it out. So I think we're fine now. Mm-hmm. How are you? So I got my Cialis chocolates for my brother for the annual chocolate, special chocolate intake. Unfortunately, it's not Krause's, but it's still good. It's fine. I actually took my box to work to share it because, in all honesty, I have some of the chocolates from last year still in my apartment here. Like some of them are in the kitchen. I didn't eat them all. So...
Wow.
Besides like 3 actual chocolate bars, which I'm keeping to myself, I took all the little truffle little mini pieces that are individually wrapped to work to share with them. So also all my Christmas shopping is done.
Sweet.
So
early.
Yeah. Theoretically, I don't believe that it will happen, but supposedly my parents should be receiving one of the packages today and another package tomorrow. And then my brother, I think, will be receiving it later this week. He's in Washington. And my sister, of course, will be with my parents. So I get them to the right places, and they're all wrapped. So all my shopping is done. Also, for... Cyber Monday, I did some shopping on our store. I haven't gotten those yet, but I should have those like today or tomorrow or something like that. Or tomorrow? Something like that. And apparently I have a package on its way to me, I think from my brother. It's coming from Anaheim, so quite possibly it's probably my brother, and it's probably something to do with Blizzard stuff. So.
Cool.
That's my theory. So Christmas shopping has begun, and hopefully will be soon finished for the rest of my family, although my sister's a slacker.
Nice.
Dan?
Sorry, Damon. I need to go back and ask Jeff a quick question. What kind of chocolates?
Seattle chocolates.
Thank you. I heard Cialis chocolates. And I was trying to figure out the way to cut in, and I was like, no, I know I got to be mishearing that. Because you're like, oh, I have some left over from last year. And I was like, no, that doesn't seem right.
Well, I would, the only reason why I would need, if I was going to have some Cialis chocolates, I would probably be getting some, and I don't really get some very often, so
so yeah,
which would explain why I wouldn't have some Cialis chocolates. Unfortunately, they are not Cialis chocolates; they're just Seattle chocolates. So
Cialis, Seattle. Yeah. Whatever.
tomato, tomato.
Tomato, tomato.
Apparently.
Tomato, natural meal enhancement. I don't know.
Sorry,
Anyways, Damon?
So I am okay. So thanks for the funny because I need it. Work has been pretty fucking stressful. Like I came back. I know I was out for a while, and I knew that this week would be a little busy because I've been gone for a while. Expected that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of other shit went down that kind of made work a very just awkward and odd environment. Stuff that I can't really get into right now on the show in public.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been a little crazy, and it's affected everything. So I'm really, really honestly ready for a vacation. I'm really looking forward to Midwest Bearfest in a couple of weeks and some other time off. And I just need, like, even though I just had a vacation, I need another vacation. And it's probably going to be that way for a while. So when you see me at Midwest Bearfest or whatever, just say hello, and hugs and stuff are nice, because it's been like it's just been super fucking stressful. Just this week alone. And there's probably going to be several weeks of this, especially since we're going into the holidays and it's our busy time on top of it all. So
True that.
So Damon gonna get crunk.
No. I probably won't get that bad. I won't. No. I hopefully won't get that bad.
What's stopping you?
What's stopping me?
Him.
Yeah.
Himself.
You're in a hotel. You're not going anywhere.
Sure,
It's a safe space. You'll be with your COL co-host brothers. We'll watch over you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's getting it on?
Yeah.
What?
No, I mean if he gets a little too lit.
A little too lit.
Well,
No,
if he tips a little too much liquor down, so.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just been, like I said, it's just been stressful, and that's kind of the vacation is needed to kind of relax a little more. Yeah. So that's me. Chester?
That's good.
My cat is sick. Apparently, it is the year for all of my pets to have problems all at once. Last year at this time, I had to put my other cat down. So now my other cat has been sick. She's constantly sneezing. I'm pretty sure she's got an infection in her ear.
Oh.
So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. So I'm just trying to baby her and clean out her ear whenever she allows me to get close enough to do it. Often. I had an interview last week. It wasn't. It was for a headhunter, basically, but they specialize in just doing administrative positions. So that's good. And here was the best part. I was in the middle of talking to the interviewer, and towards the end, I had said to her, I'm like, oftentimes when I go into interviews, I always get a dumbfounded question of, what's anthropology and why is that important for this position? And the girl's like, oh, don't worry, I have a BA in anthropology too, so I know exactly where you're coming from.
Nice.
I'm going to make sure that I'm sending your resume off to places that you're going to fit into. And I was like, oh my God, thank you.
Awesome. Wow.
Because of the way that degree works, I can apply for other things that are, like business administration. I can still apply for it because they require a bachelor's degree. But as soon as they see that it's not business administration, I immediately get kicked out. And I'm like, but I have like 8 years of experience plus this degree. I assure you I'm qualified, but they don't see it that way.
Oh,
So thankfully she understands.
good.
So that's some good news. So tomorrow morning I got to call her back, and I've been going through jobs, and she said to select some that I'm interested in, and she's going to go through the list and find something that works for me. And lastly, I wanted to take Evan to Frankenmuth, Michigan this past weekend, but it just wasn't in the cards. But since we kind of planned to do things over the weekend, what we ended up doing is basically having a date day on Friday.
Aw.
And
Cool.
we went out for food, and we went to the zoo. Got there later in the afternoon because they do this holiday lights thing from like 5
Awesome. Yeah.
So I said, well, I don't want to be at the zoo all day long, so why don't we wait until towards the end of the afternoon? This way we go through the zoo, see the animals, and by the time we're done, all the lights should be coming on. And it was perfect timing because we got there and there was hardly anybody there. But once about 6:30 or so hit, the place was packed with people. So I'm glad that we ended up waiting as long as we did, and it was nice. We just took a casually stroll through the zoo. It was chilly out, so we ended up stopping off at one of the little kiosks and getting hot chocolate, and the hot chocolate's really good, and yeah, it was fun. And I'd never been to Columbus Zoo.
Nice. Sounds like fun.
Gary?
I'm having a hard time recognizing time and space.
We noticed.
It's
You knew that was coming, Gary. Come on.
So what I'm focusing on is that it's already December, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm not sure where the past 11 months went per se, but yeah. So this is the beginning of 4 full weeks, and then it's over, and then we get into 2018. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. We're still busy, but I'm making a little bit of headway. I finally have system access to one thing. It's on our side, it's not the client side. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, we've got this thing coming up in a couple weeks, which actually I'm looking forward to. That's part of why I was up late last night. So hence. That's about it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's scary to believe that it's December. And yeah, like going through it, I'm like, yeah, we've got like not too long, and then it's Christmas, and then Jim and I are talking about like what are we doing for New Year's, and I'm like, I haven't even thought about like Christmas yet. Let's. And Jen's birthday's in January, so thinking about things to do for that too. So it's like, I didn't think I would be thinking about these things right now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
So I hear you guys are going to be someplace soon.
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, it's Midwest Bearfest. Their 21st year. They're calling it
Legally Bear.
Yeah, Legally Bear. As opposed to, I don't know what they were trying to spoof on.
Legally Blonde.
Oh, blonde. I was like, Legally Blind? Legally, I don't know. So yeah, which I'm happy for them, because I think they're now one of like the top 3 longest standing bear runs in the nation.
Probably.
In terms of consecutive years age type thing. So yeah, we are currently planning to do our little shindig again that we did last year for the first time on Thursday in the atrium. We're going to get together, I believe we said between 9 and 10:30 on Thursday night. So I'm already trying to figure out like the whole logistics of like little foodie stuff and drink and that kind of thing. And we have something new planned. Chester came up with an idea that we're kind of like bouncing around about. So when we're there and we're talking to folks, we have some interactivity type thing. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it should be fun. We'll hope to see all you COL Entourage members and COLers that just listen to the show and everything else there, if you're coming to the run.
Yeah,
So
by all means.
Levels of COL fandom?
I don't know. I'm just thinking of people who are actually in the Entourage, and then there are people who just are like the page and listen to the show. You may be a member. You may be a member of the Entourage and listen to the show, but you may also just listen to the show.
Right, and I think that's one of the things that's, I don't know, like I was just listening to another podcast, and they were talking about how intimate podcasts are, because you tend to listen to them like while you're doing other things, and so it's coming right into your ears, and you hear people's voices, and so you feel like you really know these individuals. And then when you meet the host, when you meet the host, it's kind of like, oh, I know a fuck ton about you, and the hosts are always like, what?
I know nothing about you.
Yeah.
Who are you again?
So when you and that's fine. Just kind of give us a little preface, like, hey, I listened to the show, I think it's great, blah blah blah, or I reached out to you and sent you this thing, or you read my comment, you liked my dick pic on Tumblr, sent me an inappropriate message that I thought was sexually harassing. No, I'm kidding.
You liked my voicemail.
Mm-hmm. We still don't know who that person was.
So, yeah.
It was still freaking awesome.
If you are a person who listens to the show and you're going to be at Midwest Bearfest, by all means, if you have some COL swag, some apparel, feel free to bring it and wear it at the social. So,
Yeah.
Because we be proud, because I'm probably going to be wearing something. So.
Well, I hope you're wearing something. It's going to be in a public place.
Well, I mean, there isn't really nudity in the atrium, although I'm quite sure that's happened.
I'm not quite sure I can confirm.
Right here.
Sex doesn't happen in the atrium, just a few steps away from the entryway to the atrium.
Yeah, because I think. Never mind. I'm not going to spill tea. Never mind. Keep going.
Well,
see, I'm not going to spill tea because I put it in my little straw cup.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So yeah, Indianapolis, Indiana, Midwest Bearfest, year 21, 9 p.m. Thursday. Come join us. Come talk with us. We'll have a nosh. We'll have a little drink. It'll be fun.
Little drink.
Like
I don't know what I'm making this year. Making another punch. So yeah.
Like the vodka gummy bears.
I don't know if those are making a reappearance or not.
If you don't know what we're talking about, we've got videos on our Facebook page and on YouTube with that. So anyways.
I wouldn't mind making the gummy bears again, but I wasn't prepared to make them last year. They just happened because I mentioned, hey, I brought gummy bears, and somebody was like, you can make vodka gummy bears. Okay, sure.
Yeah, but nobody was prepared for the size of your gummy bears. Let's just put that on record. You all need to go look at the video. You need to see how ridiculously fat and girthy these gummy bears are. To see how Chester makes me shove one in my mouth and how long it takes me to swallow it. Yeah. And it's all on camera. It's all on record. Oh, and hey, if you're a fan of Mr. NAB 2016, Ray Smith, you get to see someone take a shot off his ass.
Someone. Chester. Uh,
I wasn't even drunk at the time.
You ain't got to be drunk for that. There's nothing.
there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Oh,
Yeah,
There's
I'll be curious to
anything
see
wrong
who the
with
mix of people are that are going to be there this year, because I know some people are not going to be there, and other people are going to be there. Oh, hey, I have confirmed, because I don't think this has been revealed yet. One of our COL entourage, who has been on a couple of shows, is going to be rooming with me and is going to be there. So,
sweet.
Oh.
but I'm gonna leave it as a little surprise.
Mysterious.
Little
Okay.
surprise. All right. Okay.
Let's go into this.
Now, whoever thought we'd be doing commercials?
I know I sure as heck didn't.
Being that we're a smaller scale podcast, we don't have advertisers knocking down our door to give us money, and that's okay.
Which is why we want to take a moment and tell you about 2 really great ways you can support Cubs Out Loud.
Over the past 9 years, COL has produced hundreds of audio episodes, and now we have matching video episodes for you to enjoy.
This year, we introduced the new COL logo and launched our new merch store over at Zazzle.com/CubsOutLoud.
Or you can also use the COL merchandise link on our podcast website to pull up the online store.
Here you can take a look at through a range of products, including t-shirts, hats, poker chips, underwear, backpacks, and various other things with the COL logo on them.
And keep an eye out for new things to be added based on your interests and requests.
We typically can be found showing these great items off in the video stream of our shows.
Also, to help with our new format, we're doing YouTube video shows that help create the audio version. We have a GoFundMe campaign underway at gofundme.com/COLstream.
This campaign allows us to afford upgrading the PC that Jeff uses to produce our shows. Plus, a better computer means better quality streams.
And thanks in advance for not only listening to Cubs Out Loud, but helping support the podcasts too.
So we got COL swag. I got COL swag incoming, which I'll probably be showing you next week of my COL swag. But I also have my sleeveless t-shirt, and it's going to be cooler next week, hopefully. Right now I'm sleeveless because it's Texas. Any of you guys have anything?
Actually, I do. I have this is new because as I took advantage of the Cyber Monday sale and got the long sleeve COL shirt. It's one of the darker ones, so it's the hunter green, which I like, and I kind of like it. It's a little long, but that's okay. But you know, it's nice. It fits pretty well. I bought something else, but for some reason they're shipping separately. Don't know why, and hopefully I will get it this week. And if I do, I will probably wear it next week.
Yay! Cool. Gary,
I'm super stoked that Damon got a new piece of swag item, and I haven't seen that yet. So if you could bring that to Midwest Bearfest.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna wash it because it has the scent of the factory because it's they mass produce and whatever. I mean, it's nice, but it's
a new shirt scent.
Yeah, it's a new shirt scent.
Yeah, and so for those of you that don't know, a little behind the curtain, Damon and I have strategically met in person to show items because we've been interested in something. Like I had, what was it, the baseball style tee, the long sleeve one, and you were like, I think I'm gonna get it. I'm like, hold up, I'm about to see you soon. I'll show you what it looks like. So yeah.
And I'm glad he did because it was much thinner than I was expecting, and that's why I haven't gotten it yet. I'm still thinking about getting it, and I almost got it this time, but I changed my mind and went on ahead and went with this one because I wanted something a little thicker that I can long sleeve that I can wear.
Yeah, but I like that color. I want to see it. I want to see it in person because it looks. I know you said that it's hunter green. Right now, it looks like it's got a little bit of blue to it, but I don't know if that's just like the lighting.
Probably camera lighting sort of thing. So.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. So yeah, and then of course I have my classic chocolate brown hoodie on because it's my thing.
Chilean.
Well, I mean, it's my go-to now. It's either this or the white short sleeve extra dry. I call it the extra dry shirt. It's the same material that Jeff's sleeveless is made out of. Only mine is short sleeve.
Sweet.
I don't think this is nice cotton thing. It's not like sporty.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's one. I can't remember what the brand is, but anyways, it's like a polyester kind of blend, and it breathes really easy, when it's summertime and stuff. So, but anyways, Chester, do you have any swag on?
2015 Moody Bear Pride.
Because you're advertising that you like bukkake? I mean,
no, I like Moody Bear.
It's a brand.
I was referring to the design. Anyways.
Oh. Anyways, let's get into this. Gary, so I understand you've spoken with somebody in person.
I'm
looking at the first thing on the list.
It's in the wrong spot.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where this goes. Anyways, I put it in person. Where is this from? No, this is a Facebook comment. It's not in person.
Oh, never mind. What's happening going on over in Facebook land then?
We have 2 new likes. We would like to thank the following individuals for liking us on Facebook: Ray Wallen and Terry Carl Johns. Have liked our page on Facebook. And then we have a comment for a post. This is COL episode 441, The Fall of Gay Bars. Jay Yaspa, sorry, I couldn't help it. Said, enjoyed this. I keep an extinct bar list of the places I've gone to that are no longer there.
Wow.
Which I thought was interesting. And then I think when I was on the road trip with AJ for Thanksgiving weekend, we were talking about bars. And what occurred to me is, and I forgot to mention this to you guys, I think it would be interesting if there was an app, like maybe Google Maps or something like that, if we could track all the bars we've ever been to. Because I started thinking about how many states and how many gay bars I've been to. And I went, because, in the episode we talked about the first bar we ever went to. And then I was like, oh, I've been to bars in. And I started rattling them off. I was thinking about it. And I was like, I've been to bars in Pennsylvania, New York, Ohio, Kentucky, like West Virginia, Florida. Like I just started rattling off. And I was like, and there's a lot of cities and places. And I don't know if all of these establishments are still listed. But when you get to be as old as me,
horse is me. Sorry, what?
So, when you've been out and able to go to bars legally for 23 years, almost a quarter century, that's a hell of a lot of places you could visit and go to. Because I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, I've been to a gay bar in Anaheim, California. That was called the Frat House. If it's still around, it's a fun place. You should really go. Of course, this is based on data from 1990. 7? Oh my god, that was 20 years ago. Okay. Anyways, moving back to feedback. Damon, over at YouTube, I think we got some info.
So we have got a YouTube comment on COL421, our couple age differences. This is from Fur and Teeth. And he said 27 years apart, together, coming up on 15 years together.
Wow.
Nice.
It's very nice.
27 years. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Over on cubsoutloud.com, we had a commenting on our 422 feedback episode. Kristen, thank you so much for having this episode. I love that you didn't sweep it under the rug and called out exclusionary thinking, done with sass and strength and compassion. Thank you for rocking the boat.
Nice.
And a couple of things that weren't directly to the topic, but were commented on that episode. Mr. Glitterbear himself, James Butterfield, said, "Hey guys, just ordered my COL t-shirt, and just to make Jeff happy, I also bought a mug."
Aww.
So now he'll have an official COL mug to sip tea.
Yes.
So we also got a long comment from JMO. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it talks about a video we were talking about on it. But a couple of extra things. That was a long thing, probably a little bit more private or something, but didn't want to. Thought it was too long for the show. But he did have 3 things that he wanted to say. I'm glad you like my 12-inch vinyl singles from Janet Jackson, Whitney Houston. I have another wall devoted to Jodie Watley, Patti LaBelle, Madonna, and Michael Jackson.
If you're listening, I want to see them.
Sorry about the Scoutmaster socks and the sneakers. They're just something I like. One of my kinks is the BSA uniform, as you previously mentioned. Thank you again, by the way. That full video is available on the aforementioned XTube, which he talks about his XTube account. And Gary, I'm glad I've managed to get back in your good graces. My apologies for anything that might have put you off previously.
Okay, so I want to reply to these 3 things. Number 1, I already knew about that because he's posted about it and I've seen it. It's quite impressive to see his. He has one room, I think, in his home, and he has taken 12-inch album covers and put them like in a grid. So it kind of looks almost like a wallpaper design or whatever, but it's pretty cool. Number 2, I already knew about the Scoutmaster thing, and I didn't care about that. Chester was being silly because I said I had a complaint about the image on the GIF on Tumblr, and he was trying to guess what my problem was. So I don't have a problem with you wearing Scoutmaster stuff. You want to wear that, you go right ahead. In fact, if you want to wear that when we meet up in person, okay.
Earn those badges.
I was a Boy Scout once.
And a brownie.
I was not a brownie.
Sorry, it's a musical reference.
I know.
It's a reference.
So, and I'm not even gonna do the. I'm not gonna say it. It's too easy to give away. Anyways, and then the third one is, you weren't out of my graces. There was just a moment in which I quit fanboying. Yeah, I quit fanboying. We met very briefly at NAB. And so there's a big difference to have somebody in your imagination one way and then to meet them in person. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it was just this like, oh, I've met him. So it's no longer, about my private moments by myself in my room. Kind of a thing. So
it's no longer about your personal thoughts. You now have a reality to the fantasy.
Right. I mean, I'll say this. I mean, I feel the same way about chess. Before I met Fox Bear, I was a bit nutty gaga, because I think he's very physically beautiful, personally, for me. And so then when I met him in person, I was like, and then and now we're very good friends. And so all of that's kind of moved and changed. So it's not so much about falling into grace or out of grace. It's just stuff is,
it's changed.
It is what it is in that case. So moving on, Chester, I think we have Tumblr followers.
We do. J Mobear, which his Tumblr is J-Mobear.
Sweet.
Let's see. We also have Too Much for My Honey. Honey. I cannot say honey without thinking of Trixie Mattel.
Honey.
Oh, honey.
Honey. Yeah, okay.
Oh, and also Pup Bubba 34.
That sounds like a fun name. Now
we also have a Tumblr comment from Fiery Biscuits from our COL442 All Tino Shade Feedback show. And he said, "Gosh, I love this podcast." Smiley face emoticon.
Sweet.
Yeah, pretty sure he liked the portion of us talking
about to me.
He said something privately to me too.
That's nice.
Well, apparently Damon and I don't get private personal messages from Fiery, but that's okay.
That's okay.
For all intents and purposes, Alex chatted me, and we were just talking about the logistics of something.
I don't see what the logistics have to be worked out. Your bed's the right height. You've already advertised it on the podcast.
Yeah. Anyway.
Time for our show topic.
Moving on. No, we have a personal comment. So I do want to recognize in chat. So Chubb Nerd Chaser on the W Bear app had said to me, I wanted to thank you for your presence on COL. You bring such a measured and considered voice to issues and debates. Is it the educator in you? Which perhaps it is. I adore your storytelling, like the relating to your Montreal trip. You have a real knack for it. Thanks again for providing with such a wonderful show. And I said, thanks, bud. And then I said the last show was a unique experience where we agreed ahead of time that we were not going to be as reserved because it's about the Altino Shade 442. And he said, I think the topic warranted the more raw type of discussion. It made me feel better knowing I wasn't the only one who reacted passionately to the comment. And then also on Tumblr, Curves and Crevices, and I have chatted a little bit back and forth. And I can't remember if I said these things before, but I wanted to recognize. He said, for COL439, I always love your storytelling. You have a knack. Thanks for a great show. And now I'm completely loving Tokyo Sunrise, having never heard of LP. Great recommendation. LP is the artist that I had recommended, and that comes via Chess and Joe when I had visited them. In fact, I was listening to her right before the show today. He also said, thanks for your thoughts on the latest COL. I really appreciate the fact that you guys addressed it. You were cogent and engaging as always. So I'm going to award you a 25-cent token for the word cogent. Because as was being discussed previously, sometimes we have, broader vocabularies and then we bring them up. And so, yeah, there's that.
All right. So we're going into this.
That's new.
Yes.
Yeah, well, this is the first time I think in COL history we have to do this.
Right.
We have to make a correction for the record because I specifically made a mistake. In 442, I made a reference that it had been like 80-some shows since we had done an Alti No Shade, and that is not true. I completely forgot that we did. I did not forget that we did these two shows, for the record. I forgot that they were in the category of Alti No Shade, and that would be episodes 406 and 407, which were focusing on racism. Yeah. So during the show, I was like, boy, we haven't done this in a long time. Like, there was no template logo, blah, blah, blah. And then I think I was going back and listening to the show and looking at what we call our matrix, which is a creative spreadsheet of all the shows we've ever done. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I completely forgot that that's what category that was. I distinctly remember we did the shows, but yeah. So I thought it was important that we own for the record and put in a correction. Yeah. So we've actually now done 4 Alti No Shades shows.
Quick
3
side note, which barely has any relation to this correction. If there is somebody who would like to basically compile a matrix of all of our shows before the next generation, so that we can add them to our doc just for historical reference, that'd be very much appreciated. Maybe we'll figure out some sort of gift for that. So. I don't know. How back does our matrix go?
Are you saying we need an administrative assistant?
Yes.
Like
we need an intern.
An intern. Well, what is it that you're thinking that we need, though, Jeff? Like,
okay. So, if we go into the episode matrix, how far back does it go?
2008.
This show's been going on longer than that.
Okay.
So,
I will say this. Yeah, like I did this a while ago, and I think this is because I was trying to track something. And so all of it's filled out. There's tabs. Sorry, everybody that has to listen.
Oh,
to
wait
this.
a minute. No, this is the original generation. Never mind. Ignore me. There's more in this doc than I thought there was. Never mind.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ignore me. Now it's time for the topic. It's time to bear.
Bear down. Sorry, it's awful.
Yes, it was.
All right, so we're back to another series. Bear in this case stands for Bear Experience Action Readiness. I feel like we need like a big dramatic theme music or something.
No. That's all I got.
I don't know what that. Anyways, right before we go to a bear run, especially if a couple of us are going to be at it, we came up with this idea this year to talk about things to do before you go to an event. And so this time, the topic is staying healthy. Kind of in 3 areas I was thinking about. What we do to prepare to have a successful experience when it comes to our mental state, our physical state, and our spirituality. Now, I will own when we've done these shows before, we've talked about the physical stuff, like in terms of health type things. But that's not the only thing that we do. And I think amongst us, we have some experience in kind of prepping, so to speak. No pun intended on that. On when we go to a place. So I didn't know if Chester and Damon, since we're going to be meeting up at Indy, if you've already been thinking ahead a little bit about this. Like if you have certain things that you know that you do, like when you're packing your stuff, like the week before, days before, while you're traveling there, during the event, that kind of stuff.
Not really.
Well, yeah, it's weird to think about, but I do think when I think about mental, I know that a part of me, I know for me, any run that I'm going to is meant to be sort of meant to be like a vacation. I know it's not really a vacation in some sense, but it's, getting away from the mundane, from the, what I'm normally doing, and I have to allow myself to, as we were just talking about, let go of some things. I can't worry about work. I can't worry about the house, for example. I can't stress about those things. Not really stress so much, but just I can't really focus on those things. And I need to focus on where I'm at and who I'm with and what I'm doing. So that mental sort of process, I know sometimes happens the day of or the day before, kind of to sort of let myself go of some of the stuff that I know I'm going to be dealing with that can be dealt with afterwards. Like work can wait. Home, will for the most part be stable. I don't think anything major, and I have things prepared if necessary, if something were to happen at the house. But, I just have to make sure that I'm mentally letting stuff go. Because I want to have fun. That's sort of the point. Wherever you're going, whether it's a bear run or an actual vacation, like going somewhere, going on a trip, you want to kind of let some things go. Because if you worry too much about what's going on, like out there, you're never going to enjoy yourself. You're never going to have fun. You're always going to be stressed about what you need to get done, and you won't really have fun about it. So that's one of the big things for me, at least mentally, that I know I have to do.
Right. No, I agree with you. The mental thing I think is important because when people go to events, not all of us have the same kind of outlook on the event. I know that there are people that go to events, they like going to events, but they also don't like going to events. So because an event is meeting new people, it's being in a different environment. If you've never been to this type of an event before, or this specific event, it's, understandably you have thoughts about who am I going to meet? Am I going to, going to be okay being social? If you have situations that you find challenging, like socially, to be around other individuals, to meet new folks. That's some of the things I was thinking about in terms of this. I've already been preparing for the event, but that's because I've got other stuff going on in my personal life that I have to be this proactive and think ahead about. All right, what day am I leaving? What day am I getting back? What am I doing? For instance, I'm going to be taking my dad. He's not coming to the event. Everybody calm down. But on the way to Indy, I'm going to be dropping him off where he used to live so that he can spend the weekend seeing people that he doesn't get to see because he's not living there as much, and he doesn't drive anymore. He made that decision this year. So every time I'm going to be down in southwestern Ohio, I know I'm probably going to be taking Dad and giving him the opportunity to go see people and hang out and that kind of stuff. So to me, there's a coordinating factor. It's like I gotta pick up Dad, drop him off, pick him up on the way back, and part of that's mentally preparing. It's like, okay, I've got this, this, for lack of a better reference, a caretaker role situation that I'm doing, and then there's the weekend, and there's stuff that's happening, and will there be, crazy shenanigans? Will there be, a lot of hootenanny? Will there be debauchery? I don't know. Maybe not.
Did we just say hootenanny? Did you just say hootenanny?
Well, okay, I said it, not we said it. Well, no, we, because now you also said it, Damon. There you go.
Yeah. See.
Sorry. Yeah. So I think in terms of the mental piece, I also want to say this. In all the years I've been going to events, only once did I take a mental break at an event that I was attending that I was not in charge of. I just had I don't want to say I just had a spell. I had a bout in which I needed to not be with people. I needed to just be alone. Looking back on it now, I was in a real bad, major depressive episode. And the worst place to be, honestly, besides Disney when you're depressed, is to be at an event that you want to be at. And it's going to be a ton of fun, but you're just not, it's not happening.
That happens to me often at events where I will be there and my depression or anxiety starts kicking in and it ends up getting the best of me.
Yeah.
And I used to lash out. And typically that was, I would lash out with the person that I came there with, whether it was the person I was dating or my roommate. They would bear the brunt of it. But it wasn't until people started pointing it out that I did this that I was like, oh, holy shit, I didn't realize that. I am taking it out on this person and I need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
So what I've done since then is I will just retreat to my room. I will grab my Game Boy or my phone or something like that, and I'll just check out mentally and start and play a game just to help me calm down.
Yeah, yeah. I've had.
Yeah.
No, for me, a lot of things get overwhelming. I'm an empath naturally, so a lot of emotions, a lot of stuff that's going on tend to overwhelm me. And again, that's the same. I need that same thing. I need that I need to not be around all these people right now. I need to find some way to escape, at least in some capacity, whether that means actually physically leaving the space and going somewhere, or like we've talked about, going to the room or going somewhere else, or for me, even just, I know it sounds silly, but going to the bathroom and just not using the bathroom for the sake of what you normally would, but just actually using the bathroom is sort of I need a space where I can be by myself and not have to deal with everything that's going on. Just for a moment or just for a few minutes to just sort of let stuff kind of stop from boiling over or bubbling over. it's one of my few issues with a lot of like going to like bear runs and going to events where there's a lot of people. Like, as much as I've enjoyed North American Bear, it's gotten very busy, and there's a lot of people, and sometimes that can be just a little too much for me personally, and that means I need to step away, and it'll happen. It happened this last year where it was the start of the contest, and I was there at a table with a bunch of people, and as people started leaving, the contest started going on, and all of that like rush of things started happening. I was like, I need to go. So I got up and left and walked out, and unfortunately didn't come back. But I knew I needed to step away, and I knew for a fact that at that point in time, the room was empty. So I went to the room and just laid on the bed and just took like maybe 5-10 minutes to just center myself.
Right. I will say this. When you're going to go to an event, what's worked best for me is, for my personality, I know that there's there's really 3 modes to me. I'm either on, which means I've got an agenda in my head. There's things that I need to be doing. So as an example, like, we'll be at Indy Thursday, like, we've got the social that night. So there'll be prep work, things to do ahead of time, blah, blah, blah. We'll do that. Then there's the other extreme, which is like, I'm just going to be chilling out. So I'm not going to be as actively engaged and gregarious and talkative and chatty and all that stuff. And then there's kind of the in-between. What helps me the most, I figured out, is, as much as I like being alone, because there's a whole bunch of things. I mean, I'm an only child, and I lived most of my life kind of in that, mindset of being, by myself. I haven't really been in, long-term relationships. So I'm just very, for lack of a better way to say it, self-centric. What I do know, though, is being around people that I care about, that I've considered part of my chosen family, really help provide me with some balance. And so, yes, while I'm going to be at Indy and I'm going to have a full house, as I like to say, there's going to be 4 of us sharing a room. The 3 people that I'm sharing the room with are people that matter to me, that I care about, and also will be able to provide me some of that balance. So if I need downtime, I know that I can talk to them and explain that to them. Or if I need to privately engage to kind of chill out. Like, I think, like, Chester, you've kind of seen this a bunch of times between the 2 of us. Like, when I make a connection with someone, everything just kind of falls away. Like, I don't care a whole lot about the fucking schedule and whatever the hell's going on.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm busy having a conversation with a person, and in a way it's very grounding. And I think that's part of what that's about, is like, I'm having a moment because I live such an insular life, in a way, that I think that's part of what that balance is. But there's also been times where it's like, no, I agree with you, Damon. Like, I need to not be around people. I just kind of need to focus on me. I think what's difficult about that is I don't know if people know how to verbalize that, like how to communicate it. And more importantly, if they know who they can talk to about that. Like, I know now that if at Mindy something happens and I need to talk to the 2 of you, I'd be like, hey, like, I just need downtime. Like, I need to go offline for like an hour or whatever. You guys will kind of understand that, and I think we're all very supportive of each other to say, hey, if you need something, let me know, that kind of a thing. I don't know how many people necessarily have that. I think that's where I see the struggle when people go to events, if they don't have that support structure or they don't know that about themselves. Like, they're not aware that this is kind of the experience that they're having or what's going on with them. And that's the part that I hope that we can kind of bring some light to in this discussion, is that when you go to an event, understand that it's basically an amusement park ride. That's the way I refer to these weekends. There's highs and lows. There's some, really great thrilling things, and then there's some, not some great stuff. You can't be on 24/7, and you can't go, party, party, party. I mean, some people look like they do, but take it from me, they don't.
Yeah,
like,
honestly,
you're not seeing them literally 24/7.
Yeah, like, that's the thing that I think people don't often understand. Like an event that has a contest, for example. North American Bear is one example, but there have been other events, like, hell, Tri-State Leather was a couple of weeks ago. There are people that are a part of that are the contestants, for example, that they kind of have to be on for a while, probably a lot longer than probably some of them are normally. And you have to mentally prepare yourself and physically prepare yourself for that as well. Because in certain situations, depending on the contest, you're going to be on stage for a question, and then you're going to be off stage selling raffle tickets and interacting with the audience. Then you're going to go to an interview and judge, with the judges and talk to them. And then there's going to be this next part, and this, you're going to be like potentially running around off and on for most of the contest, for most of the weekend. If you plan on doing that, I highly, highly recommend that you try to find some time to just step outside of the contest or step outside of the event. And I know that it's an event and it's meant to be fun in some ways, but you're kind of a contestant, so you're kind of you're not going to have as much fun. I'll just own that. Unless you really love running for competitions and that's your fun, then so be it. But if you're going to need to find some way to recharge yourself, because I know from contestants I've seen in past, you can tell when that they're getting empty. You can tell when their meter is going low, and not saying that's a bad thing, but I've seen it in a few people, and I want to be like, you need to go chill, go do something separate from all of this, because I know it's what you're doing and you kind of want to be there, you want to experience it, but that's the same with any person. You're going to run empty.
Yeah. And I agree with you, Damon. I think part of that is to know how to get your refill or to recharge. I think there's a presumption that at bear events, as someone that we all know once quoted, a bear run is nothing but a catered orgy.
Yeah.
Which I disagree with. And part of that is because I think there's a mental state that people are like, oh, there's all these people getting their freak on or whatever. Yes and no. I think there's a lot of, DNA exchange, as I call it, happening. But at the same time, we're men. We're not having marathon, sexcapades. Seriously. Yeah. And we're bears. I mean, really, the endurance factor.
Speak for yourself.
So,
nice.
I'm just saying, if a man lasts about an average of 7 minutes. But anyways, but that being said, I think there's a reason why people like to play games. I think that's why tabletop card games and stuff is good, because it's a socializing aspect. I think that's why people kind of disappear, but it's not that they're getting their freak on. They might literally just be laying in bed cuddling.
Yeah.
And it's not all about, brown chicken, brown cow. I think there's moments of that, but I think there's a ebb and a flow to things. Drew and I like going out and eating and going to new places. And Chester, you and I were already talking about trying to coordinate, potentially going out to eat some in Indianapolis, because we've done that over the years and we have places that we really like to go to. Some become tradition. Others are like, oh my God, this place is fucking amazing. And so you try to schedule and balance all of that. And for some people, I know that can be pretty overwhelming. And that's to be a little bit parallel to, Damon, what you're saying about if it's a contest and you're in the contest, whether you're a judge or a contestant or whatever, it's a ton of time. Someone that we know was a judge for a contest this year in the fall and said, I have never been so busy, not overwhelmed, but just holy cats. It was amazing when the weekend was over to be this weekend was great. And I don't want to put words in their mouth, but I would be surprised if they were to say, I don't know if I want to do this again, or at least for a while, because they felt that they ran at top speed a lot. And they weren't even a contestant. They were just judging. Yeah. But the way it had been structured, there was a lot of stuff to do.
Yeah. And you're going to be on. Like that we talk about being on. You're not. I'm not saying fake, and there's a difference. Like you're just going to be on. You're going to have to be sociable. You're going to have to be presentable. You're going to have to be engaging with people and talking with people, and because of that. That takes you don't realize that takes a lot of energy. That takes a lot of effort especially for some people that aren't necessarily naturally extroverted, as it were. You know, it takes a lot of energy to be like engaging, and depending on the person that you're trying to engage, it may take a lot out of you to get them to engage with you. So it's that whole balance. I love the fact that people like to find other ways to recharge, and I think that's one of the things in regards to this that I think is important, is whether that's like I said, leaving this place entirely, going and get something to eat with people, a few people, and since we're doing physical and mental as well, you know, food, eat, drink, water, like drink water. My God, drink water. My God.
Yeah.
Drink water. Like, I know we've talked about it several times before, but
yeah, you need to hydrate because it's the only way you're going to have some endurance to make it through the weekend. You know, and as Vita Bohem says, moisturize.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
even though you're being thirsty, you shouldn't really be thirsty.
Haha. Exactly.
And hey, and here's a tip. If you really want to have a volume to your, I'll call it this, your ejaculate, liquid is how you get some of that. If you're dehydrated, then guess what you don't really produce a lot of. So if you're at an event and you're really like, and let's say you're able to hook up with that guy and you two have been like circling around each other for a couple of years, sniffing each other out, and it's finally going to happen and you're super excited about it. Don't you think you actually might want to be able to, you know, have an impressive moment, you know, when you basically, yeah, empty your nuts, basically. You know, like, don't set yourself up in a way that you're gonna then be mad at yourself or disappointed in yourself or whatever. Yeah. You know, get rest. Yes, believe it or not, you do need to rest. Like, I know that these things run late into the night. As a person who's been putting an event on for going on 14 years and then did 2 events for several years, like, it's a lot of time management. It's energy management. I mean, there's just a whole lot of stuff to it. You know, as AJ Purdue says, you know, you do you. Like, be yourself, know what works for you, and kind of do that. I guess I want to say this advice. Be careful about the crowd mentality thing. Because I know sometimes we get swept up in this. Like, our friends are like, oh, we're going to go do this and blah, 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 blah. And you don't want to miss out. Like, you don't want, you don't want FOMO. You don't want to have fear of missing out. But at the same time, you need to probably take personal stock for a moment and be like, do I really need to do that? Like, oh, I was up until 4 a.m. or 4:30, was back up at, like 9, this and that. I only got 4.5 hours sleep. You know what? A nap could probably help a lot in the afternoon. And the nap is up to you. You get to decide how long that is or whatever. And maybe you take a nap with no clothes on and with somebody holding you. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Drew actually posted something in the comments. He says it's okay not to do everything that is going on. You can always return and do what you missed the first time.
Oh, amen to that.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I think people, I don't want to say it's a mistake. It's a decision that they make, especially the first time they ever go anywhere. They're like, I got to do all the things, all the people, the whatever. And it's kind of like, well, you can't. That's not how this works. And sometimes things overlap. Like, with Midwest Bearfest, they're doing a couple of things that we already know looking at the schedule. Well, you're going to have to make a decision because you can't do both.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't be in the game and be in the vendor market. It's just, that's not how that's going to work. It's kind of a bad example. But, yeah, there's things along those lines to make the best decisions.
So you just brought up a really good point that is something that I suffer from greatly. And it it is something that still happens to me every time I go to a bear run, and I have to like check myself at the door and remind myself to not let this get to me. But you said FOMO, fear of missing out. Something that happens to me at a run that just will hit me like a truck and will bring me down is I'll be at a run and there'll be people that I know that I consider friends or people that I would want to be hanging out with, and I see them checking into a restaurant nearby. And it's like, thanks for the invite. Or I will see other groups of friends off doing their thing, whatever it is that they're doing. And like I said, it immediately gets me upset because I'm like, am I not good enough that you couldn't invite me? But then I have to take a step back and realize that it's probably not about me at all. They probably didn't think about me, which is my own insecurities playing out in my head. On top of that, they very well could have set this up way in advance. And it wasn't like, hey, we're all going to go to lunch. Who should we invite? It's probably not like that. Just like Gary said a few moments ago that him and I have been discussing places that we are going to go to together at Midwest Bearfest to have lunch. It's because Gary and I are friends, and that's what we're going to do to make sure that we have time together to see each other. We're going to go to lunch, so we're making plans now. And it doesn't mean that other people are excluded from our plans. It's just that we're including ourselves, and we will tailor it to other people who want to see us as well.
So, and here's the thing I want to say. I know, Damon's all like, oh, you two have been making plans. I see how it is. But here's...
I'm joking.
Right, but here's the thing is, so I'll pull back the curtain to explain what happened. I don't think this is like giving anything away. Chester was like, hey, I'm going to, make a Google calendar of the stuff at Midwest Bearfest. I thought he was just going to make a calendar and it was going to list everything that's happening so we could kind of like keep track because this isn't meant to be shady, but this year they're not doing what they used to in terms of the schedule stuff. So it's a little hard to know what's happening where and when. And so anyways, Chester created a Google calendar. He gave me access to be able to see it. And we were talking about stuff. And then I had listed a couple of things because I had the option to add things. A dinner outing on Thursday before the social, lunch on Friday, breakfast on Saturday, just different things. And he was like, oh, since you list that, is that something, is it okay if I come along? And I'm thinking, duh. But I realized, he has the right to ask the question. He doesn't know. Yeah, Mitch, you want to come along? It's on the calendar. You're being made aware of it. This is the way I look at it. If I don't want you to know about it, I wouldn't have put it on the calendar. That's how you're not invited, because you don't know about it. Period.
And just so, I'm sorry, I'm sitting here giving saying this. It's totally joking. I'm not really, trust me.
We get it. What was funny is, as Gary and I were talking about this, he's like, make sure you add Damon to this calendar. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll get to it. And then I completely forgot about it until 30 seconds ago.
Nice.
Because there's nothing more embarrassing than live podcasting to video where you get called out on your shit. You're like, oh, fuck. Forgot to invite my friend who's a co-host. Whoops.
But what I was trying to say is, no offense, like Gary, Chester, we're friends and we all know each other and we can hang out totally cool. We're all going to be in the same space. We're going to be doing some stuff together anyway. Normally there's a Facebook chat that shows up on Thursday with everybody that's there and, we kind of go through stuff. So I usually don't worry about doing stuff with you guys. Last year was a weird exception. And this is something that you need to people need to understand when you're going to a run. Planning is great. Planning is awesome. Sometimes, though, you don't adhere to set plans. Sometimes you happen to be, I'm about to go to lunch, and that one guy, passes you by or hits you up on Growler or whatever, and you decide as opposed to like going to lunch at like 1 o'clock, you're gonna seize the moment. Yeah, maybe, but not just.
You
Not
may
just
no
that.
no. It's just you've decided to put something different in your body at that
Yeah.
point. That's all. You
No,
know?
it's true though. You have to be prepared for, even though you are going there and you've made plans to do these things, be prepared for those plans to change.
Yeah.
Look what happened to me at NAB last year, where I'm just walking through the atrium and I got pup napped by 15 guys from Iowa. That was not in my plan for that evening. I was just going to order a pizza, relax in my room, and drink with Jack, my friend Jack, not the liquor.
Jack and Jack.
We were going to have an evening alone, and then next thing you know, I'm being hauled off to a pizza restaurant with all these other people who I only knew like one person out of that entire group. And when that happened, I messaged Jack, and I'm like, sorry, I got kidnapped. I'll be back later.
And, like I said, things happen and plans change. And not just I was being cheeky with the whole like sudden trick thing, but I also realized like sometimes you don't want to go.
That is incredibly true. No. I know what Damon's saying, and he is spot on. He gets like 5 gold stars for this. You make plans, and then you're just not feeling it. Like something happens or whatever, and like I think people struggle with this. It's the backing out. It's the hey, I know we said we were gonna go do blah blah blah, or we're gonna go to this place, but I can't, or whatever. This is the biggest thing I was gonna say right before that, Damon, is just communicate. You don't have to give all the details. Just let people know, especially if you're a person like Chester or myself, or maybe like Drew. I think we're kind of planners. Like we think ahead and we make an itinerary and all this kind of stuff. And Damon, you strike me more as the, hey, whatever, cool. Someone else is going to do the work. Great. Like I just have to show up, And that isn't being shady. It's just to say, oh, someone else is going to do that because they're a type A and they're neurotic. Great. That's their thing. So, but if things change, though, my big thing is just communicate. And you don't have to spell the whole story. You don't have to be like, girl, I am finally going to get this guy I have been like circling and chasing around for 7 fucking years. You don't have to say, I mean, you can. I mean, you just be like, you know what, I'm gonna tap out on this one, or I'm not gonna whatever. Now, be prepared if y'all don't know me well enough, I'm probably gonna suddenly ask, is everything okay? Like, I don't need the details, but I just want to make sure that you're all right. Because, believe it or not, I am a caring, compassionate person, and I just want to make sure you're okay. I'm
just gonna throw it out there that if you're at a bear run, it's common knowledge that it's hose before bros. Unless you've made reservations for a place.
Yeah.
No. All right, I'm going to debate that a little bit, Chester. I think for the most part, I operate bros before hoes.
But at a bear run.
Nope, at a bear run, I think I care more about the people that I'm with and my friends than I do about getting dick. But that's
what I'm saying is if you've made plans to go to dinner with somebody and all of a sudden they need to cancel because they're going to get some.
Oh, yeah.
You're probably going to be like, okay, well, you go do you.
Or him.
Or him.
I mean, I think you bring up a good point, Chester, because that's probably one of the parts that I've had to reconcile with. People are not like me. So when I go to an event, if someone decides that piece of ass is more important than us hanging out, us playing cards, us like going to the dance, us like going and getting a drink or eat a bite to eat, anything, I've had to reconcile with that. I have to be like, again, like you were just saying, Chester, I think this is important. It's not about you. You're making it about you. Like you're interpreting the situation and saying, oh, I'm not as fun or, enjoyable to be around or whatever. No. Like that, all that negative talk that some of us put inside our heads, we have to be careful about that. We have to be like, maybe if you just take a step back and be like, you know what? Perhaps that's not it at all. Maybe they just decided they wanted to do something else and it's not It's not really about you at all. It's just the circumstances of things. Like, I know there's some people not coming to Indy, and I'm gonna miss them because their circumstances, they're not gonna be there. And it does depress me slightly even now, thinking like, oh, they're not gonna be there because I like them so much and I want to hang out with them, and that's what is gonna be happening. Is
I'm sorry, I'm poor. I couldn't come.
I wasn't talking about you, Jeff, but you bring up a good point. Like, not everyone is going to be able to attend, and it's a weird form of FOMO. Like I am having this like kind of altered fear of missing out on them being there, but they're not going to be there. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of a different point of that. But I want to go to the chat real quick. Brian McCann had said that happens to him all the time too, though it's the nature of the event and not to take it personally. I think Brian was referring to like, you know, kind of feeling overwhelmed, or that you're having that like, oh, people are doing things without me. Wah wah. You know, like obviously, you know, I'm not included in that or whatever. Yeah. I've kind of pretty much been open about, hey, if you want to go do something with us, you can. I don't care. Like, I'm too busy focusing on, like, especially if we have to go somewhere, how many vehicles, how many bodies, like, could we leave on time? I usually tend to run on a schedule, but that's because I have other things that I want to do. Yeah. So once you know that about me, you're just kind of like, oh, that bitch, whatever.
And yeah, like there are some times where you want, like for me, like we were talking about this, like there are some people that plan and do things ahead of time and all that stuff. And I do sometimes. I do, and I've kind of gotten away from it just mostly because, especially at an event or a run or what have you, like I mentioned, things will change almost suddenly. You know, yes, the trick thing is one thing, but there's also like, well, I'll just use your example, Chester, about how suddenly you got pup-napped by people. Like, you may run into these really awesome people that aren't your friends. Just, you know, like you've made plans with friends. And then you meet these really nice people that you've never met before, and they invite you to dinner. And you're like, oh, well, I was going to go. But, you know, maybe you want to get to know these people more. So, you know your friends. They'll be cool with you going somewhere else and going out with someone else. So, you tell them. Like, I agree with you, Gary. Communication is key, very important, especially if you've made plans with people and you are backing out or you can't make it or you whatever. Yeah, then just let someone know. Most people will be understanding. Some people might not be, but you know, the joy and fun about a run for me is the new, yes, you get to see people that you haven't seen and you have that whole family and friendly connection, but you're also potentially meeting people that you've never met before or from areas of the country that you've not been to before. Mm-hmm. And you have an interaction with them and, hey, you want to hang out? Like it happens. It happens all the time. And so that's why I don't normally keep things as open as I want to. If I want to plan something, I will plan something. If I don't want to plan something, I don't. You know, the good thing about Midwest Bearfest and runs where a lot of stuff is happening at the hotel, you don't really have to worry about like going somewhere else unless you choose to go out of the place. You know, so that agree. If you're going away, then you do have to plan or determine how you're getting there, how you're getting back. You know, who's all going.
Right. Yeah, and you bring up a good point, Damon. Like Midwest Bearfest, the event that I put on, one of the things that is kind of a key structure piece is a lot of stuff happens on property. So there's not a lot of leaving. So you're not per se maybe going away for a bar function or, you know, or if there is something that leaves, it's few and far between. So you're pretty much on property the whole time. Like that's the thing I was saying about our mystery guest, that I said, it's their first time, and I said, I think one of the things that you'll like about this is basically once you get to the hotel, you don't have to leave. Like, now, I do, but that's just because I've developed that kind of personal schedule over the years, you know, and so when I first get there, it's like, all right, you know, we probably need to go run, grab a bag of ice, you know, get this, get that, you know. But then, in theory, you can pretty much stay there the whole time, the rest of the weekend. I might make a late night run to Hardee's or to Taco Bell or something, but, you know, and then run like hell through the hotel because bears turned into fucking hungry ass zombies when you walk through with food at about 2 o'clock.
And you got to pass 10 people who, oh, did you bring me food? No,
Bitch, don't you touch my fries.
If you're into humiliation, you can come suck my cock while I'm eating it.
Well, there's that.
Give options, you know. It's always a good
Yeah,
one.
apparently. That's something that I hadn't considered before. Yeah, no, so, I mean, I think you're trying to figure out, like, the who, the what, the
Kicks
when.
before dicks.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. Drew wrote, get kicks before dicks. Which I think means to, like, have, you know, to put the good times in front of, like, you know, the brown chicken, brown cow stuff. But, yeah, I think everyone just kind of comes at it from a different place.
No pun intended.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do. Are we? The other things just in regards to staying healthy. I know we've talked about a lot about the mental stuff, but just for physical stuff, you know, we've already mentioned a few times. You know, vitamins are important. You know, any medications that you take, please take them. Please make people aware of any potential issues or hazards that could come away. Like if you're a diabetic, if you need, you know, if
Nut allergies.
diabetic is a big, yeah. Like if you
nut allergies at a bear convention is a really bad thing.
Yeah,
I hate somebody to be allergic to my nut.
Ha 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 ha. I get what you mean. He has a prostate.
Anyway, I can't.
Yeah. Anyway,
so, as David's saying, you know, here's the things that you have to do. You have to hydrate. You need to eat. Like, as weird as that sounds, sometimes I think people get too much in a party mode, and so they'll just drink. I mean, not all booze, but like they'll have a lot of liquids and not a whole lot of substance. And that's a thing. Like, you should kind of like balance that out. Also, you may not be diabetic, but be prepared for there to be a lot of sweets. That's one thing I've noticed at a lot of bear runs. We like sweet stuff. And like, if Midwest Bearfest does what they've done in the past, there's a fuck ton of candy in the hospitality room.
Yeah.
Like, a couple of years ago, I walked in and I was like, Jesus, I'm glad I'm not a diabetic. Like, it wasn't a complaint, but I was like, good golly, Miss Molly. Like, there was pounds upon pounds upon pounds of like individually wrapped candies and piles on tables. And I was like, ooh, I was like, if I had an insulin pump, I'd be like, did I bring it back up?
And that's something also you kind of need to also prepare for your health. If you are a diabetic,
or if you're dieting.
Yeah, or if you're dieting, yeah. Also true. Like, no offense to any bear run or any bear event, a lot of these events do cater food based on mass. So you get a lot of like, you know, you get carb heavy food. You get lots of things that can be easily, quickly made. Chicken, pizza, you know, things that can just sort of...
Things that can be made, yeah, like you said, en masse, and that they're inexpensive.
Yeah.
Carb-heavy foods.
They're trying to keep costs down. So...
Yeah, it's kind of a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Big boys that like to eat cheap food full of fat and carbs. Like, you know, and so that happens. There's usually a lot of carbonated beverages. I know one criticism in the past is sometimes there's not enough non-sugar options. I.e. diet type stuff. Sometimes there isn't caffeine-free options. Like, some people can't have caffeine in their beverages, or not so much food, but in their beverages because of medicine that they take, because of how their body processes it. I've learned a lot over all these years of going to events and putting them on is it's not easy to meet everybody's criteria or their needs, but if you kind of broaden it a little bit and not be so much focused on like, oh, this is easy. Like, here's a bear run in a box. Boink, you know, and you're just going to, you know, it's so easy. I just need to give them pizza, mac and cheese, and bacon, and booze, and lube, and we're good to go. And it's like, you know, that's a starter, but like...
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, again, be prepared for your health to maybe... You may need to spend a little bit more on food than you weren't thinking, because you're like, oh, you're going to a run and there's usually meals provided. Well, sometimes those meals are things that you can't eat.
So this is something that we haven't said yet. But since we're talking about food, it'll tie into it. Take 2 minutes, go to the website or go to the Run's website, familiarize yourself what your registration covers, because it might include food.
Yeah.
Midwest Bearfest, for instance, I know that we have a breakfast on Friday. We have a pizza party at some point. I don't remember which day.
Friday.
Sunday has a brunch.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to point out that these are things that if you've paid for a package, or if some packages that you buy include the food option, some packages do not. So make sure you take note of that and what package you've purchased and if it comes with food.
Yeah.
To caveat on top of that, pay attention to the schedule so you know what's going on, where it's going on, when it starts. This way you can have options to fill up your time while you're there.
Yeah. In addition to the time thing, I do want to say this as a person who puts on events. Be aware that they plan as best possible for the capacity that they have, like the number of people that are registered and paid and that kind of stuff. But it is not a guarantee, as weird as this is to say, that they're going to have enough. Their goal is to have enough, but there have been plenty of times that people have showed up, I want to say late or later, like say dinner is an hour long and they show up 45 minutes in. Well, now they have to find a place to sit, if they can even sit together, depending on how many people they are, and then go get food or whatever. And I know that sometimes people kind of get bent out of shape and they're like, oh, there's hardly any seating and there isn't much left and they ran out of this and that. No offense.
Get there earlier.
You're tardy to the party, girl.
Yeah.
And it's a bear run. Bears like to eat. I don't know how to explain this to you. Like, not only do they like to eat ass, they like to eat food. So, like, if you're going to go, make sure that, like, if the food is enough of a priority for you, you should probably kind of be on trend and show up, you know, earlier than later. If you don't care about that, then don't worry. Sometimes I go to events and I've been there plenty of times that I don't care about what they're providing. I have alternative options. I bring food of my own. Last year for Chester, surprised him and I brought ice cream. That sure as hell wasn't on the menu anywhere. You know, I mean, there's things of that nature. I mean, it's funny because I've been into people's rooms. I have seen bars in people's rooms. And I mean a full-fledged motherfucking bar. Like 20-some bottles of liquor and like a big thing of ice and, you know, I mean, cups and all this shit. And I'm kind of like, whoa. I'm like, these people are serious about that. I've been in other people's rooms, and there is a sling, and there is like sex toys and accoutrement all over the place, and you know, a big old tub of lube, and there you go. I've been in other rooms, and it's like, oh, it looks like a grocery store in here, you know, where there is so much food to be found, like all over the place. You're kind of like, are you gonna starve, girl? Because the zombie apocalypse has not come upon us yet.
Well, and that's the thing. Like that particular family or grouping of bears could be guys that don't want to eat the food that's going to be provided for them, so they have prepared to eat their own food. Or they're
the type that wants to be givers. I don't know how else to say that. They know that people are probably going to travel through their room or come visit or whatever, and so they're like, hey, have a snack, have a whatever, you know, this, that, kind of a thing. So it's not even all for them, per se. What were you going to say, David?
I think you need to replenish your fluids, or we have exchanged some fluids, and we need you to replenish.
There you go. There's that.
Anyway. So
that almost kind of sounds like, you know, mint on the pillow kind of thing afterwards. Like, you know when you get done with a massage and they give you a bottle of water, it almost sounds like you're endorsing, like, okay, all right, now that we're all sticky, here's your complimentary bottle of Gatorade, or, you know,
here's your banana,
whatever,
and your Powerade.
Girl, gotta get your potassium back up. Here's your blueberry smoothie with vitamin B12 booster.
With berry acai.
Oh, stop it. Oh,
you know, it's funny because years ago there was a running joke about one of the best things you could probably bring to a bear run would be a big salt lick block, but only it was going to be like Viagra.
Oh God.
I mean, we've had all sorts of really inappropriate jokes over the years, but I just realized, yeah, like you could have all sorts of different things available. So in terms of like your physical health, I agree. Like Chester, you kind of have like a personal kind of setup about how to avoid what we call run cough. So for those of y'all that haven't heard or know what it is, kennel cough or run cough, run crud, whatever you want to call it, is
bear flu, kennel cough.
It's typically illness that takes a hold of you within the week after you go to a big event. I'm just going to call it out. The reason why it happens is because there's a lot of DNA being exchanged and other things. So when you go to a bear event, there's a lot of hugging, there's a lot of kissing, there's a lot of mouth hugging. There's just a lot of stuff that happens, and we kind of forget at times, oh, I should be making my physical health a priority. So I should be, as weird as it's going to sound, maintaining a certain level of hygiene, cleanliness, and getting enough rest, enough hydration, and then also making sure that my immune system's boosted enough. Because in a way, you're kind of like doing a marathon. Like you're not running at top speed the whole time, like we're talking about, but it's going to have these, kind of peaks and valleys.
Well, people need to realize that when you're at these events, you are suddenly, for a lack of a better term, you are thrown into a petri dish with all sorts of different bacterial and what's the other one? Not bacteria, the other
Viral?
one. What?
Viral?
Yes.
Viral.
Bacteria and viruses floating around amongst people. People are touchy. People like to give hugs. People like to kiss. People like to have sex and not clean up afterwards. They will hook up with somebody, get a blowjob, pull up their pants, and be done, and not shower afterwards. And an hour later, they're hooking up with somebody else, and now you're going down on them and getting the other guy's germs on top of it. So think about that kind of shit.
Sex is gross.
Sex is messy. Sex is, just a lot of things that are happening. But, I mean, Chester brings up a good point. It's like, you don't know where that person's been. And we're not talking in terms of STIs and STDs, although we should be. Yeah, the reality is you just don't know where they've been and what they've done. You don't know where that dick has been, where that ass has been, or that mouth for that matter. So just kind of keep that in mind, I guess, is really the big piece of that.
And you can go ahead.
I was going to say, mouthwash, antiseptic, does wonderful things throughout the course of the weekend. Listerine tabs. I know that, Chester, I think even leading up to before the event, you tend to take, vitamin C and zinc?
Yeah. It's basically, if people have ever heard of Airborne.
Mm-hmm.
All Airborne is a huge dose of vitamin C and zinc. Well, you can just order the shit from Amazon in a big bottle of vitamin C, 1,000 milligram vitamin C tablets. They're big giant horse pills, and 50 milligrams of zinc.
Yeah.
Those two I recommend to start it 3 days before the run, while you're at the run, and continue it 3 days after the run. And I know other people will add other types of drugs into there, but those are
vitamins.
Yeah, I mean,
those are my two go. Those are the ones that I recommend.
Yeah, I mean, people have different things. I take Airborne with me. I also tend to have Emergency as well. I just kind of I might, believe it or not, I might mix that in my cocktail that I'm walking around and drinking. I may not necessarily share that with other people, but or I might have one in the morning. I mean, it's just.
Yeah.
I don't go as severe. I try to do vitamin C every day, so I might boost it a little bit. And I usually probably do 2 days before, and then I agree with Chester, a couple days after. Now, do you have to do all the stuff we're talking about? No. But I'll tell you what, the proof is kind of in the what you can state and what you can show.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily get as sick. Go ahead, David.
Well, yeah, I've been taking a multivitamin every day for years. Not saying that it's enough, but it's what I do. And when I go on runs, I have to remind myself to take it because I bring it with me. And, again, you're in the event and you're at a run, you sometimes take it. So try to make it as much a part of my morning routine as I possibly can. I agree with you about and you mentioned you can buy it on Amazon. You can get vitamin C and zinc. I believe you can get both of them at the grocery store. I know you can get vitamin C.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so
I said Amazon because it's less expensive.
Yeah. So yeah, you can get those things there, and it's. I know it sounds silly, but it's preventative.
Yeah.
It's very much a preventative measure. It's something that potentially, because we talked about it. You're exchanging DNA. You're going to people. You're seeing people. You're going to be in a pool with people, and there's no matter how much chlorine you put in a pool, stuff tends to still stay there. So just understand that this is all kind of meant to sort of prevent certain things from happening. As someone who has not so much every year, but just about gotten some kind of sickness after a run within a week or two, it's important. I think I'm probably going to start the zinc thing because that's the one thing I don't do is I don't do zinc. It may be in my multivitamin, but it's something that I've never thought about doing, and I think it may be important to try because again, it helps. And no offense, I don't want to get sick. I'm tired of getting sick. Right. And the other, obviously, the flip of that is if you are sick, stay in your room, stay away. If it's a serious condition, go to the doctor, go to a hospital, go to an urgent care. It's very important to take care of yourself as well. And I know you're going to miss the party, as it were, but sometimes you need to do that. If you get sick at a run, yeah, it sucks, but you shouldn't interact with other people because you are sick.
Right.
I have a thermometer with me that I take with me. It's in my little toiletry bag. And the reason I have that is if I'm feeling weird, I want to take my temperature because if you're running a temperature, you're infectious.
Right. And you bring up a good point about that, Damon, in that I wanted to say, sorry, Chester, that when you're think ahead, this is one of the things that people don't realize is if you've been sick within, say, 10 days before arriving at an event, you could potentially be a carrier of something that you're fine, but that you could give to other people. And I'm not trying to make someone else Typhoid Mary and say that you can't go to the event, but just kind of be aware of that. I really respect people when I show up to an event and I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen you, whatever. And I go to give them a hug and a kiss and they're kind of like, I'll hug you, girl, but I got a thing,
yeah.
I got a sinus thing or whatever. I don't want to give it to you or whatever. I totally respect that. I appreciate that people kind of think for a moment, in those type of terms. It's interesting because we got a question in the chat. Is a run different from a convention? No. I say no. When I try to describe a bear run to people, I say it's a social convention. It's basically my event. I call it adult version spring break. It's just not as crazy. Mm-hmm. There's
not boobs everywhere unless it's a pool party.
Right. And the police don't have to show up and all that kind of crap. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of along those lines. But Chester, I think you were going to say something.
Oh no, I was just going to say, for as many runs as I have gone to, I rarely ever get sick, with the exception of tidal wave. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I'm at Disney World a lot of the days. Mm-hmm. And the other reason is I'm in the pool a lot. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people realize how much bacteria pools contain. Mm-hmm. So when you're in the pool and you're doing this with water, you're getting it out of your face or whatever, that shit drips into your mouth or gets up your nose, or it's entering your body without even you really realizing it. So while we're saying be aware that other people can spread it, just normal everyday things like the pool or the buttons on an elevator, doorknobs, you come out of the bathroom, make sure you're washing your hands. If they've got a paper towel dispenser, use that to open the door. These are common everyday knowledge things that you should be doing anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but when you're at a run, do them even more.
Yeah, and I know it sounds like we're harping along this a lot, but realize that it's beneficial not just to you, but it's beneficial to others. Washing your hands, taking showers, cleaning yourself up, maybe taking vitamin C, maybe taking more precaution if you are or were sick. It's beneficial not just to you, but it's beneficial to the other people at the run, because you never know. Someone could have a compromised immune system and be at an event like this, and one wrong turn or one bad thing could be a problem. It's helpful, and it's just for the benefit of everyone. I try to I shower every day. I can't. Like, I don't care if it's like I just went to bed and I'm just waking up. I need to shower. I can't, like, I'm not going to go out in public and not have showered in some capacity. And that's the way I just feel about it. But I know people who go to runs or cons or whatever who kind of lax on some of that stuff, and it's like, no, you really shouldn't, because one, you never know who you're going to be interacting with, and while some of us may enjoy the musk of a unclean, unwashed penis or what have you, or armpit, some people don't. Other people don't.
Yeah. In the chat on YouTube, and I'm going to apologize because I think I'm going to pronounce this wrong. Dogai or Dogai had said, I've always called it con crud. Also, the 8 to 2 to 1 rule, 8:2:1 rule is always important. And I hadn't heard of this. I think it's interesting. He said 8 hours sleep, 2 meals, and 1 shower per day.
While I agree with the 1 shower per day, I will also add that you should be showering more often if you're having sex.
Yeah, I and no offense, getting in the hot tub or getting in the pool is not showering.
Hey to the fucking man.
Just because you went and got your freak on, and as said earlier, which I found quite hysterical because I want to go back to it, Brian McCann said something awesome. He said, now that we are sticky, here's your cookie.
Yeah. Oh my god, that would make a great t-shirt.
I know, that would be hysterical. Now that we're sticky, here's your cookie. But you're right, here's the thing is, all right, so you got sticky and you got your cookie, and then you leave the room, be it like the dirty dark room or your own room or someone else's room. Like, yeah, you should probably clean up. And no offense, a handy towel, that's been maybe, given to you politely by your host / guest, that's wet, may even have a little soap on it. Like, that's an effort. But then, getting into the pool or the hot tub or whatever immediately afterwards. Yeah. I'm going to call it out.
I believe those are called incubators.
Yeah.
This is why I keep cum rags handy and any supply like this, like next to my bed. For when I get done hooking up with people, I can toss them one. And it just so happens to be, if it's one labeled with a run, hey, it's free advertising for that run.
Or if it happens to be one that has a podcast name on it. Anyways. So,
oh my God.
Then Brian also said, alcohol-based mouthwash, swish for 60 seconds after encounters is your friend.
Yep.
I have to agree with that. That's probably the biggest culprit. So think of it this way. You have 2 main orifices on a male human body, typically. that you will have as a way that things get into you. The mouth and the nose, like this whole area, the face basically is the biggest culprit of where you're going to introduce viruses and bacteria into you. They may be hitching a ride on a pair of nuts that you're busy licking or sucking on. They, could be, in that kind of general vicinity. So if you take the time afterwards to do just a little bit of cleanup, I'm not saying you have to like Silkwood shower the fuck out of yourself back in your room, but like I agree with them. Yeah, like just have some available. You know what? You could even have a little fun afterwards and be like, all right, here's the thing. I'm going to take a shot. I'd like you to do a shot. It's not an alcohol shot. It's an antiseptic shot. So let's both do a little, swish together now that we, know each other so well.
By the way, what's your name?
Oh, nice.
Oh,
so,
my.
Are we ready for the last bit of this one? I think, because I see Run Drop mentioned.
Yeah, I wanted to mention and talk about Run Drop, because I know we talk about like Run Cough probably more than that. Run Drop is basically a condition in which you mentally have a bout of depression that comes on. The severity can kind of be a little or a lot, but for people when it happens, you find yourself blue, or depressed, upset, because the good times are over. I relate it to, Damon, I think you would agree, I relate it to doing theater.
Yeah.
If you've ever been involved in a theater production and then it ends, you've created a family for a time frame, and now it's gone. And the same thing happens when you go to leather events, for leather runs, bear runs, that kind of stuff. Conventions, it's over. Like your friends, now you're not together anymore. You go back to life, you go back to your job, your family, whatever it is. And so, I don't know if there's really a good way to avoid having Run Drop. I know for me, I keep myself busy, which is a piece of it. And I don't know if it happens as much as it used to. I think social media is a huge piece of this now, that you can still stay in touch. So when you meet new people that you don't know, make sure you exchange information, not just the DNA. Talk to them, find out, are they on Growler? Are they on WBear? Are they on, any app or any website, Facebook, all that kind of jazz. And make those connections, and then you can still stay in touch with them and be like, hey, it was really great hanging out with you, blah, 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 and discuss about stuff. I know that I tend to check in with my friends and be like, I like seeing when they're like, hey, I made it home. I'm on my way home, this, that, and the other thing, that, just so people don't just drop off.
Yeah.
So to speak, and disappear. I don't know, Chester or Damon, if you guys have any thoughts about
I don't. I think for as much as I have traveled in the past 10-ish years, I don't really experience Run Drop in the same way that others do. Or maybe I'm just better at dealing with it. I don't know. But I know that inevitably after any event, you are going to go on social media and people talk about how much fun they've had and how they wish they could go back and do that. It's true. I would like to as well. But the reality is that's vacation time. That's what it's there for. It's so you can break up the monotony of your everyday life, and you can appreciate doing those things when that time comes for you to do them. So I guess for me, I'm always planning ahead for the next ones that I'm doing that are further down the road, so that I come back from Tidal Wave and I'm like, all right, Tidal Wave is great. I miss you guys. Can't wait to see you next year. But I'm already working towards, all right, what's the next thing I'm doing, and how can I make that one just as great?
So I have I kind of fall in the middle of you guys. Like sometimes it'll happen and sometimes it won't. for me, I know it sounds rare, but it often depends on what I've done and how much I've enjoyed it, the experience. If I've had a really, really great experience, yes, you want to have that experience again, but you do have to come to the understanding that it won't happen again. Like that's sort of my rationalization is that experience in and of itself. Midwest Bearfest 2016 is Midwest Bearfest 2016. And you've had all those experiences, you've enjoyed it, whether you really, really had fun, that's all that it's going to be. It's going to be in that little capsule of that weekend. And yes, you had a great time, and yes, you made connections, and yes, you really had, this sort of fun with that time. Well, Midwest Bearfest 2016 is going to be different than Midwest Bearfest 2017 if you go back again, or if you go to. So to me, I have to rationalize it like that. I have to go, that event was that event. And even though sometimes the same people are at said event the following years or what have you, it's still going to be a different experience. We're still going to be different. We're going to be different people. We're going to be coming from different areas and different angles to the experience. So that's how I rationalize it in my head. And that's, for me, what sometimes prevents run drop. Sometimes that's not enough. No one really likes going back to work. I don't always do it, but sometimes I do, and I probably will this year. Take a day after, if you can, take a day after the run. You've traveled, you've gone home, what have you. Just, if you can, if you have the time or you can take the time off or you're okay with that, take a day and just sort of recenter yourself. Like you had your vacation. And yes, you have to go back to work or go back to your regular life, but have that day where you can sort of just relax. Yeah, decompress. And just because you've had this great experience and you need to kind of let that experience pass through so that you can get on to the next thing. That would be my only sort of way of not really getting over it, but fighting it before it happens or after it happens. The other thing is, like Gary said, keeping connected with those that you've had, experiences with. One of the things I enjoy, and I know it sounds pretty, I love looking at the pictures of events, like if I'm in them or not, because to me it just says, I like to see what happened, because sometimes there's things you don't always see. So I love those captures of the people and seeing people in those pictures that I know. It kind of keeps the memory of the event alive without necessarily being there. So it's for me, pictures are a big thing. And I don't normally take my own pictures. So I really like people like Chester, like Dozer, like those that go to these events and actually actively take pictures.
Not that I want to derail what you're saying. I just want to say that it depends on the event.
Yeah.
And if I'm working or not. If I'm working, absolutely I'm taking pictures. But I don't normally take my camera around.
That's what I mean. I'm not talking about just you specifically that's actually, actively. I mean, most events have a designated photographers, that are out there taking pictures of the event. You don't always have that. But again, like friends of yours who are at the event take pictures of themselves and post them on their Facebooks or in other places. It's funny. I went to the website for Midwest Bearfest a few days ago, and I was like, oh, there are all these pictures from like runs like years past, like 2008, 2007. And it was really awesome kind of going through some of those pictures and looking through and seeing one, like, wow, so a lot of people have changed, but also seeing things.
He got fat. He got
but also just like seeing.
He's a bitch.
Yeah, but also seeing things like, people enjoying themselves at the event. There was the year I actually was the motorcycle bear one year, and then the year after that, I think it was Gabriel. And then the following year with someone else, and it's just very fun seeing that kind of progression and seeing the event. And yeah, I spent a good solid hour just going through those pictures, just because it was awesome to me to see those memories and recapture those memories. Not saying it was, I didn't have a run drop because of that, but I really loved seeing those images again.
Yeah, Brian had said he knows that he can only go to one event a year, so he gets, he understands what we're talking about, and planning for the next year, making connections with new people, new friends that you've met, looking forward to that is about one of the best ways he thinks to beat it. Like, you basically shift from focusing on what you don't have to the next good time to come. And as a clarification, it's Doe Guy, who I was referring to, not sure about the pronunciation, and he said basically what we're calling run drop, he also calls post-con depression, or PCD.
Yeah.
Since I'm not that acquainted with the con circuit, so to speak, like, Comic-Con and Dragon Con and all the rest of those, I'm learning some new vocabulary and stuff, but yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
FurCon, it's all the same. It's a social convention, no matter which way you look at it, whether it's a furry convention or a comic convention. It's all of these rules still apply.
Agreed.
All right.
Anything else before we move on?
No, I don't think so.
I'm good.
Okay.
And it sounds like we're doing this.
Ooh.
I'm going to say it first.
Hi.
Happy birthday, Ray.
Aww.
My former co-host for COL Movies, Ray Madrano, his birthday is today. Also, he posted a Sunday morning soak picture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hi.
Yeah.
Thirsty bitches.
Yes.
Bitch, please.
So you can't see his junk, but
That's okay.
you see most of everything else, and you can see he's a handsome man, has a handsome partner to go along with him too,
Cute.
and a adorable looking dog named Sadie. But in this picture, it's just him in the tub, naked, black and white. It's great.
Sweet. Nice picture.
So happy birthday, Ray.
Aww.
Thank you for
And he's cute.
sharing your morning soak.
And he's hot. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've known this for a long time.
So mine is called The Lair. It's titled The Lair, and it's more to do with the little story that's underneath it than the actual picture, and who knows if it's actually related to the picture or not. But it's a sexy daddy-ish bear in his lair, and there's a little story about how they were going out to the country to visit the family, and it's his uncle, quote unquote, and they end up having a lot more fun, educational, and very satisfying. So yeah, it's a nice looking guy with a nice red jock and a cigar, and yeah, I wouldn't mind walking into a room and seeing this guy, and yeah.
And the text.
Yeah,
that comes with this.
Yeah, the text is kind of the kind of tells the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I've seen this picture before, but I don't recall the story thing that's with it.
Yeah, same for me.
Someone's probably, like I said, someone probably has reblogged it, or not necessarily reblogged it because it looks like it's original. So shame on you. But has taken the picture and then added this little story, which kind of gives it a new context. So yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I titled mine Slutty Santa. Slutty Santa. Jesus, that's hard to say. This is a social media friend that I know from Facebook and Google Plus. His name's Thomas, and it says Vancouver, but I think he's moved. But he is in a red union suit with a Santa hat on, and all sorts of furry yumminess.
Very sexy. Actually, I liked this post earlier before knowing it was yours.
Sorry, I'm still not seeing the picture yet, which is rude. Tumblr. I had to log in. I don't know why. All of a sudden, I had this whole this is not a safe post, blah blah blah, and all this crap.
Oh, because you probably don't follow him.
That could be true.
I don't know. Yeah, I haven't followed him, and it popped right up for me, so that's not it. It's for some reason he was logged out on that computer.
Oh.
But I was able to see the other posts without an issue.
Anyhow.
Shenanigans.
Oh, wow.
Have you seen it yet?
I am more focused on the photo series that right below it called Bored in My Hotel Room.
Oh.
Damn.
More you might like.
Wow, he's a nice looking guy. He's cute. Nice.
Aw, it's Thunder Bear. Alright, I'm scrolling through his blog, which probably isn't very helpful right now.
No.
But oh, now that's not right.
What?
He's in a series of pictures and he's wearing underwear that looks like watermelon. Really?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right, so I have two Tumblr posts. The first one is just sort of a silly. I call it Amen. I really liked this saying. I thought it was hysterical. It could easily be a t-shirt. It simply says, "Dick is everywhere, chemistry isn't."
Oh, damn.
Just saying. Just saying.
Oh,
Just
shit.
because you got a penis doesn't mean it's an automatic match.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
It cracked me up. But and then I had to put a post of the new gentleman that I'm completely infatuated with and would like to do all sorts of
Inappropriate things.
Oh no, they're very appropriate. Oh my God.
You'll have to go to England.
I know. I take it you already know him, Chester?
I know of him.
Yeah.
In capacities.
Yeah, he goes by Tipples1 on Tumblr. We are connected on WBear, the app. I'm very thankful for that.
Apparently he's married too.
Yes, I'm well aware of that. The man is married. He reminds me a lot of and his name just went out of my head. Dang it. Massage Bear. Not in Indy, the one that used to live in Georgia now lives in New York. I don't. Is his name Chris? I know him by his.
Louis?
No. He lives in New York City. With his partner. His partner's nickname is Varmint. Dang it. Anyways, it'll come back to me later. But he reminds me of him. But he's got a nice, thick, full beard and a nice chest, and he's got a belly and ink, and yeah. So anyways, the picture is called. It's cute. It is a little cake emoticon, and then it says PLS, like cake, please.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, you may have cake. You may have all the cake.
And his description of his blog is, "You'll find me in the fridge eating cake." So
nice.
Yeah.
Hot. He's definitely cute.
He's into the food play, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't know about that, but
anyways, moving on.
Maybe he just is a big guy and likes food.
Time for the links, Chester.
For my link, it's to Go Bear, which I linked his Slutty Santa up at the top.
Ah.
So while these guys were being thirsty bitches and scrolling through, now you you're looking.
Hey. Hey. He's hot.
Who
What?
took those pictures?
Which ones?
There's some really great picture shots, portrait in a bedroom. There's some really nice natural light. He says, here's some old shots of me that popped up in my feed. So they're not the original post. They come from somewhere, but yeah.
Okay.
It's down a little bit.
Yeah.
But anyways. My 2 picks this week are focusing on drinking, because apparently that's just the mood I was in when I was picking them. One is, well, technically both of them are videos that tell you how to make drinks. The first one is more serious. It's Advanced Techniques, How to Make a Toasted S'mores Cocktail.
Nice.
Chester, how did you call it in the pre-show? It's extra?
Yes, because of all of the things that go through it. It's like, oh, okay, well, this sounds interesting. And he made his own cocoa-flavored vodka?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Or, no, cocoa-flavored rum.
Yes, cocoa-flavored rum.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then he did the thing with the glass. And I kept my interest until he was like, oh, and you've got to toast the marshmallow. And he does all this extraness.
Well, to be fair, right, it's very presentational. But I do have to say I was impressed by it. I thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, but I was like, oh, you can actually make a toasted s'more cocktail. It's kind of cool. I don't know if I would go to all that effort, but it depends on the mood. Like if I had friends over and I was kind of showing off. The second one is Trixie Mattel from RuPaul's Drag Race. She makes a PB&J, and more importantly, a cocktail. And this was for GQ, Gentleman's Quarterly. She and Katya recently did a promo tour for their new show, the Trixie and Katya show over on Vice. And so, anyways, it cracks me up that she makes a PB&J sandwich, but then she makes, like, what is it, 2 cocktails? It's really, it's just
God.
It was fun. So those are my picks.
I can't even see her eyes. Like, I see where the eyes are supposed to be, but there's so much there that I can't even see her eyes.
That's kind of the whole point.
For her.
Yeah, for her.
This is why, well, I appreciate drag queens. I'm not a fan of drag queens. Does that make any sense?
You can't see her eyes through her makeup?
No, it's just ridiculous.
That's the point.
That's the problem.
Doing it on purpose.
Right.
I know, but that's my problem.
Right. Have we not paid attention? Jeff doesn't like the surreal. He likes the reality, even though he games all the time. That's very confusing.
Anyway.
Like,
moving right along. Let's end this show.
I mean, to me, there's such thing as too much. Anyways, guess what, folks? That's the end. Oh. But anyways, contact us, pop over our website where you could comment on our blog, cubsoutloud.com. Shoot us an email at cubsoutloud@gmail.com. Leave us a voicemail, sexy or otherwise, at 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. Follow us on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, Google+, or YouTube at Cubs Out Loud in the appropriate place for the URL. Join the Bear Underground, the official Bear website of Cubs Out Loud. There's a Cubs Out Loud interest group there. You can rate us on iTunes, subscribe to us to Google Play Podcasts. Give us a thumbs up on Stitcher Radio. Oh, by the way, Facebook also has a group, not just the page, but also a group called the COL Entourage, which you can join. You can find me anywhere on the internet as Box, Puppy, Box, Cub, Box, something or other.
I am TheaterCub79 on Bear Underground, Growler, Tumblr, HeftyNet, etc. Or you can find me as pup_umbra on Twitter.
You can find me on Tumblr or Twitter under the name The Pup Up There, at Midwest Bearfest in the hallway outside the atrium getting a handy, or various bear dating sites across the net under the name Pup Shutter or Cupcake76. You guys already knew about this.
I'm sorry, I didn't know about
Noted.
the handy. That's the part that threw me off. I'm just saying for the record.
Noted.
If you would like to find me on the web, you can find me as GareBear73. That's GARBEAR73. And if you happen to be going to Midwest Bearfest, you obviously will have a chance to get to see me live and in person.
Or give me a handy.
You know, it's that whole slogan. Was it AT&T? Reach out and touch someone.
No, that was Yellow Pages, honey.
And with that, see you later, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Have a good one, y'all.
I just realized we have a pre-show graphic now, but we don't have like a post-show graphic.
Yeah, but do we really need a post-show graphic? I mean, how much do we talk
It's gonna
about
be
at the show?
It's going to be an illustration of 4 urinals, and we're all standing on them because we all got to pee.
That would be perfect.
Hey, so I didn't get a chance to say this about that video with Trixie and making the drinks and how it was posted to GQ, like their YouTube channel. If you notice, all of because I totally expected there to be tons and tons of hate from heterosexual males.
Yeah.
You have to scroll and scroll and scroll to find it because it's just been pushed down so much.
Nice.
So, and there, there's tons of people on there giving praise to GQ, saying, absolutely yes, keep doing this because we need representation. And then there's tons of people like, why is this drag queen on here? Blah blah blah. God, I hate this magazine. It's just supporting LGBT issues. And I'm like, well, it's a guy, and this is a guy's magazine, so why the fuck not?
Nice.
Well, it does have over 8K likes and only 245 dislikes. So
yeah, funny that.
oh.
And I just realized that Doe Guy had said, touching is good, but also wash your hands.
Turn the page, wash your hands. Turn the page, wash your hands. Didn't turn the page, didn't wash your hands.
What are you quoting, David?
It's from an old like Nicktoons show called Rocko's Modern Life, and it's a
Oh,
they're
honey,
in a
that's not an old one.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey. Oh, honey.
Anyway, but it's an older one. It's from the 90s, so 20 years ago. Anyway, but they're in a comic book store, and obviously they're kind of geeky, and it's a guy, and you turn a page and you wash your hands, and you turn the page and wash your hands because Anyway, keep yourself clean. Anyway, don't mind me. I'm going to work on trying to write a synopsis.
Okay. And I'll stop the stream.